friends, I'm Amy and this is A Star Reads, and it's time for a Sunday sum up. And we're starting our Sunday sum up by picking my next bingo because I have finished American Pop by Snowden Wright. And I just finished this, so I want to give myself a chance to really think about it before I give a review. And I've got to talk about this a lot in my Herkyed lowest rated books. So I'm going to give you a short review about this tomorrow, and then I'll talk about this a lot more in that vlog. I am very excited that I finished this. It's 384 pages. It was a decent sized book, plus it's a very dense, there's a lot of information in this, so it was very dense. So considering this was not a quick read, I feel like I did really, really good with this. So let me flip you around and we'll mark off my bingo board, and then we'll talk about the next bingo that I get to work towards. All right, so to finish my Four Corners bingo, I had to get Spring Cleaning, which is a book that's been on my shelf for a long time. And this has been on my shelf for well over a year. 2 years, 3 years? It's been on my shelf for quite a while. They had ARCs there, and you could get an ARC for free if you spent $10 on a book. So I ended up getting this ARC, American Pop by Snowden Wright, and this is a book that I've been really curious about. Emma from Drinking by My Shelf loved this, and it just sounded really interesting to me the whole time I was listening to her talk about it. So I'm excited that I got this one for free. It's been on my shelf for quite a while, so it definitely fulfilled that prompt. So I'm gonna cross that out. Okay, and now I've got two bingos. So I've got this bingo and my Four Corners, which includes the group book. So now I'm gonna choose my next bingo. Where am I gonna go next? I've got a lot of options and I'm a little nervous because I don't have that many more days of the month left, but I'm gonna do as much as I possibly can before the end of the month. And that is done. Okay, so to choose my next bingo, I did a random number generator between 1 and 13. And of course, it gave me one that I already did, which was number 5. So I did it again, and I got number 4, which is not ideal. It would have been more ideal to get something that already has anything else on it, but I got one of the 2 that has no other spots filled. That is unfortunate. So my chances of actually getting it fulfilled are very slim. But let's see what those actual prompts are. So it's the next day, I'm home from work, I've done some thinking. I had a plan last night for what I wanted to do for this particular bingo, but then I ended up changing it today. So I am now ready to come to you with what I'm actually gonna be doing, because then I remembered that I can double up, triple up on prompts. And so let's talk about it. So the first prompt is road trip, and road trip is to read an audiobook. And so for this one, I'm reading Ghost by Jason Reynolds, and the reason I chose this particular middle grade book, well, you'll see later on why I chose it. It goes with one of the other prompts on this particular line. And it's a nice short audiobook. I started listening to it today. I've been struggling with audiobooks a little bit. I was listening to another audiobook and I decided that that might be a better physical read. So I'm putting that one down. I'm excited about this one. I have wanted to read from Jason Reynolds for a while, and so far the audiobook is fantastic. It's got my attention and it won't take that long to get through, so that's perfect. The second prompt is April Showers, and April Showers is to read a book that you think will make you cry. Well, I'm actually going to use American Pop as this prompt and just cross it out, because there were moments in this one that I did get teary-eyed. I got choked up. There are aspects of the stories of certain characters within the story that are heartbreaking, or you have seen them struggle with certain things throughout the story, and so when something happens, and I was like, oh, and I got a little choked up. I honestly did not expect to, because a lot of the characters in this aren't the most likable characters, so I didn't think I would get choked up, but there were a couple of moments where I got choked up, so I'm gonna use American Pop. So for that, I'm going to do this and this. And that gets me, ooh, if I were to land on 12, I would only have 1. That would be great. Okay, then we've got Spring Forward. And Spring Forward is to read the next book in a series. And I read Shortfall, which is the next book after Foundry Side in the Founders Trilogy. Yes, the Founders Trilogy. So this is done. And I finally get to use this for prompts, because I didn't have the opportunity to use it for prompts previously, but I had to read this month. So this is gonna work for Spring Forward. So let me cross that one out. Can you see it? Okay. Okay. And then the next one, this one is aquamarine because in the month of March, the birthstone is aquamarine. The prompt for that is to read a book with water on the cover. So I decided to go with Sex and Vanity, and it's not obvious here, but if you turn it around, this is Capri, I think, where their trip is, and this is clearly water. So this is gonna work for water on the cover. And that means that I have these three all finished. Now for this final one, it's March Madness, and that's to read a book that has a sport in it. And I was like, what books do I have that have sports in it? Well, that's how I found Ghost by Jason Reynolds, because it's about this kid who gets into track. When I went to look up fiction books that have sports in it, that one was one of the ones that came up. And I, like I said, been wanting to read Jason Reynolds. He's a very well-known, well-loved middle grade author, and it's time because these are books that get read to students at school all the time. Kids like them, and it's my turn to see if I enjoy them. So for this particular bingo, I have to read Ghost for the audiobook prompt and for the March Madness prompt, which means that I am currently working only on an audiobook, but I don't necessarily want to do that. So I think I'm going to actually roll for another bingo and see what I get. And then that'll give me a physical book that I can work on, because the audiobook won't take that long, but I typically like to listen to audiobooks when I'm going to and from work, and I would like a physical book to work on. So I might be able to get, let's see, I've got 2 bingos already. This one will get done pretty quickly. I might be able to get 4 bingos depending on what else I roll. Okay, so here's my board again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all the vertical bingos. 6 through 10 are all the horizontal bingos. Then 11 is this diagonal, 12 is that diagonal, and 13 is 4 corners. I've already done that one. So if I get a 13 or a 5 or a 4, I will just do the number generator again. Okay, 8. So 8 is this one. That's exciting because this is self-care, which means that I just need to have a self-care day. I don't know if it's a full day. Let me double check. Take a day for yourself. So this is a self-care day. I don't know that this is going to work during the weekdays because there's certainly not a lot of me time when I'm teaching, but this might be nice this weekend. Maybe I'll get an opportunity. And then New Life is to read a children's book or middle grade. I'm currently reading Ghost. Oh my gosh. So does that mean I have to go and try and get another bingo? Yes, I think that's what I'm still trying to get a physical book that I need to read. This is amazing. So once I finish Ghost and once I do my self-care day, I'll be able to do this one, and I've got to find out what my next bingo is going to be. Okay, well, so I got number 3, and this gives me a lot of possibilities. So let's see what these prompts are. Okay. Or at least it could be a lot of books. So for this first one, wet t-shirt contest is to read a smutty book. Do I have any plans for smutty books right now? I haven't read any smutty books. No, I haven't read any smutty books. So that one, I'm going to have to get a different book for. Rewind is to read a past Season-a-thon book or read from a past Season-a-thon author. And I gotta look into that and see who all were past Season-a-thon authors and see if any of the books I'm planning on reading will work for that. Yeah, so I've got to look into that one. I don't think anything I've read will work at the moment. No, I don't think so. Refresh your TBR is to get yourself a new book. And now I got a whole bunch of books recently, a whole bunch of books that aren't on my TBR that this might be able to work for. So I'm gonna think about doing that for this one. I'm not gonna buy any new books right now, but I have a whole bunch of books that I recently purchased. So that's a possibility for Refresh Your TBR. And Tiptoe Through the Tulips is to read a book with flowers on the cover. Did I already read a book with flowers on the cover? I read, that doesn't have flowers. That doesn't have flowers, doesn't have flowers. I don't think that one has flowers. On a Quiet Street, I don't think that has flowers. Shorefall does not have flowers. Oh, wait. This is a magnolia, and it's central to the story. And that, yeah, that's gonna count. That's gonna count because one of our characters wears this pin, and it's a flower on the cover. I'm gonna count it. So American Pop, It's one flower, but it's still a flower on the cover. Okay. So at least I can do that one. All right, well, I'm going to figure out what my next physical book is that will work for one of these, and I will be back with you. So I have thought about it. And for Wet T-Shirt Contest, which is a smutty book, for Rewind, which is a previous Season-a-thon author, and for Refresher TBR, I'm going to go with Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren, because Christina Lauren, this writing duo, were Season-a-thon authors previously for Melanie, and this is definitely one of their more smutty books. I have heard very, very mixed things about this particular series, but I wanted to make sure it was going to be a smutty book. And this book is not on my TBR anywhere. I do not have it as a want to read, and I thought that that works really well for the Refresher TBR, because even though I'm getting this one from, where am I getting it from? Scribd. I'm getting it from Scribd, so which is already a service that I have not had any intention of reading Beautiful Bastard up to this point. So that's my plan, and it's only like 300 pages, or this thing says 271, but the actual Scribd version says 300 pages, so, you know, it's around that amount. And I think that's perfect because it will be a quick read. I should be able to get it done fairly quickly because it is a romance, and those tend to go very quickly. And once I get that completed and get Ghost done, the audiobook, which will be done very, very soon as well, then I will be able to do this one, and this one, so long as I get my self-care day done, which might actually have to wait till this weekend if I'm realistic. Or if maybe I'll do a self-care night one of these evenings. We'll have to see what actually works out. Okay, so it is Thursday, and it's been an interesting but busy week. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of B-roll or anything like that. I wanted to do some today, but my hands were covered in goop. Every Thursday in the room that I am currently subbing for, we are trying to make something like a food item or something. So last week we made some protein balls that had like peanut butter and stuff in it, and this week they're called moon balls, and they had like pumpkin and some other stuff in them. They're energy bites. It was a lot of fun, and I was like, oh, I should get a video of this, but my hands were covered in stuff because I was rolling them. It's been a busy week because I've started this 8-week-long sub job that I'm doing where I'm covering someone's short-term leave. This is in special education, so it's an area that's outside of my normal, like what I normally do, and I don't have an endorsement in that, but I've subbed for this teacher many times, and she trusts me. I know her very well at this point because I know a lot of the teachers at this particular school very well, and she's just happy to be able to go on her leave and know that everything will be okay. But the difference between subbing for her for one day and subbing for her for 8 weeks is that I'm in charge of way more. And there's certain things that the other special ed teacher is going to be taking over, which is great because there's things that I don't have any experience whatsoever with. I didn't actually learn how to do IEPs and whatnot. So luckily she's taking over that, but I have to do a lot of other stuff that I don't typically do because I'm just there for the day and I follow the schedule. I do all the assisting and working with students and pulling students that I need to, but then the next day I don't have to worry about anything else. So it's a lot and it's great, but my brain is so exhausted this week because it's been everywhere. And so I feel like I've been wanting to give more updates and get B-roll and stuff like that, and it just hasn't been happening. One thing I can say is I'm still sticking to my 2 hours a day. I have been successful getting my 2 hours in a day. So I feel good about that. That is still happening. Now, I haven't yet given my review of American Pop, and that's because I've just been a little overwhelmed the last couple of days. And I am saving a more in-depth review of this for the vlog I've been working on for Herkyed, for my lowest rated books. So in this vlog, I'm gonna say I'm giving this like a 4.25 stars. I liked this way more than I thought I was going to. Well, actually, I originally got it because I thought I would like it. And it is the type of story that I would believe I should like. And so it's not surprising to me that I enjoyed it, but there were certainly elements of it while I was reading it that made me wonder, like, is the way they're formatting it too complex and kind of ridiculous? Does it make sense to write it this way? Will it all come together in the end? Will I actually like any of these characters? And all of that ultimately ended up working for me. And I'm going to talk a lot more about well, I did talk a lot more about the formatting and stuff like that, and the reasons why I think this book was so low rated on Goodreads, you know, the average rating. And I think I'm even like, did I like it more than a 4.25 stars? But there's a part of me that feels like, oh, it was so disliked by so many people. And I can see why it's so disliked. So should I actually like it as much as I'm liking it? And I don't know. I had a hard time, well, I wouldn't say I had a hard time putting it down, but I really enjoyed it every time I picked it up. And I got through it pretty quickly considering how dense I feel this story is and considering how it was formatted. It's not going to be for a lot of people. And so it's hard to recommend this because it's dealing with a certain part of our history in the US that's very polarizing. It doesn't shy away from the ugly aspects of that particular part of our history. And I don't want to say it celebrates them either, but it kind of tries to give like, this is what life was like in that place at that time for these people. And so I think that there are going to be people who find aspects of this problematic, and I can totally see that. And I don't know how well our author actually researched everything, but I still really ended up enjoying the different perspectives we got in this. I ended up enjoying the overall family storyline through this, and there were moments that I shed a tear or two because I ended up caring about situations more than I thought I was going to, because the characters aren't necessarily very likable. And I would say most of the characters in this aren't very likable, or they have moments of being sympathetic and then moments where you're just like, oh, it's hard to feel sympathetic for you right now, buddy. And that is very intriguing to me in stories, but also makes it so I don't know if I'm gonna feel those big emotions. And I ended up feeling some pretty big emotions. I'm glad I finally got around to this because it has been on my TBR, my physical TBR, for a very long time. Something else that just happened is I got A Day of Fallen Night in the mail by Samantha Shannon. This thing is heavy. And I was so disappointed when it came in the mail because there are like, wait, where is it? Like, it was really just not treated very kindly, this book. This brand new book, and the pages were like you can see, like, there's, can you see it? Yeah, it just wasn't treated very nicely. You can tell that it was shoved in with other things. The edges are really like frayed. And I was kind of bummed because I was like, you know, it's such a beautiful book, and you get a new book and you hope that when you're getting a brand new book that it's going to look nice. And then if things go wrong and you fray the edges or what have you, at least you got to do that as opposed to it coming to me like that. So I'm a bit bummed about that. I don't know if I'm going to reach out to the company or anything like that, but we'll see. I'm not usually very good at that sort of thing, but I am a little disappointed. I am excited though because I have it. Everybody really enjoys this, and it kind of sounds like some people actually liked this one more than The Priory of the Orange Tree. And that is intriguing to me because I do want to read The Priory of the Orange Tree, and I will eventually. But this is the one that the giveaway winner for my TBR actually picked. This thing. This giant brick. And the final thing I want to update you on is that For Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren, I'm 80% of the way through this one, so I'm getting pretty close to actually finishing that one. The first day I started reading it, I read it the most. Like, I read a lot that first day. And then yesterday I read quite a bit, but just didn't get a chance to read for as long yesterday. And then tonight I'll probably end up finishing it. I'm not sure because I've been kind of in a like booktube / news sort of mood tonight, so we'll see. But I do need to get my 2 hours of reading in, so that's gonna happen. And then for Ghost by Jason Reynolds, I'm 53% of the way through this one. So tomorrow my plan is to read it to and from work and hopefully get as much of it done during that time as I can. I'm really loving the audiobook. It is such a good audiobook, and I think for my cooperating teacher when I was a student teacher, I'm pretty sure one of the books she played was with this narrator. So it's a great narrator, and it gives a really good voice to the boy in the story. And so I am enjoying that. I'm really, really liking that. That was a good choice for an audiobook for me right now because I just haven't been in the mood for audiobooks. It's the same night. I actually wasn't planning on coming back on here this evening, but I settled into my bed to finish or read Beautiful Bastard. I had quite a few pages left, at least I thought I did. And then about page 260, and mind you, the version I had said it went to page 300, it ended all of a sudden. And I was like, oh, it's done. And I mean, it wrapped up well, but like it ended and I expected there to be 40 more pages. So actually, it included part of the next book in the series. So I didn't end up having as much to read tonight as I thought I would. So I wanted to come pick my next physical book. I am able to cross out Wet T-Shirt Contest, which is a smutty book. And trust me, this book is very, very smutty. It's erotica. And so I can cross that one out. Then Rewind is a previous Season-Athon book or author, and Christina and Lauren were Season-Athon authors before, so that works. And then finally, Refresh Your TBR, which is basically add a book, like buy a book, get a book from the library, get a book from somewhere, add a book to your TBR that you weren't planning on reading. And that's what I went with because I had no intention of reading this book anytime soon or at all. And so that works really well for Refresh Your TBR. So I got another bingo. So I've got this bingo, and 4 corners so far. And once I finish Ghost, then I'll have this one and, oh, this one once I do the self-care. Okay, as a reminder, I have 13 possibilities. So vertical 1 through 5, horizontal 6 through 10, 11, 12, and then I already did 4 corners, so that's not gonna be a thing. So we'll see if I can get one that I haven't already done before. I can't do 3, 4, 5, 8, or 13. 3, 4, 5, 8, or 13. Okay, so I got number 7. This is the one I got, number 7. So I have 3 of these already done. The only 2 that aren't finished are Holly Festival of Colors and Spring Fashion. So Holly Festival of Colors is one that I was really excited to do this year. That one is to read a book with many colors on the cover or a book written by an Indian author. And I kind of have the perfect book for that. Although I have another one that's easier and a lot shorter. So what should I do is my question. Okay, Spring Fashion is to read a beautiful cover. And would I consider any of the covers that I already read to be beautiful covers? Probably Shorefall I would count to be a beautiful cover. Definitely, because I love that cover series for the Foundrayside series. So that would count as a beautiful cover. Okay, so here's the thing. I have 2 options for the Holly Festival of Colors. Here's the first one. This is a graphic novel. It gives Holly vibes because, you know, it's all about the paint and the colors and the brightness. I feel like this does a good job of representing that. This was my surprise selection from my library. They send me a surprise selection every quarter. And these last 2 quarters, maybe even 3, they've been sending me graphic novels. Not that I dislike graphic novels, just that they're not something I tend to gravitate towards naturally. So it's been interesting. The last one I started during my 24-hour readathon and I just couldn't get into it at all. And this one I'm a little like, what's it gonna be like? Here's what the art style looks like, which is nice. I just don't know. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. We'll see. It's not very colorful on the inside, which is funny because it's very colorful on the outside. But I've had this from the library for a while. It keeps renewing, so it's not past due. But I don't know if I will get a chance to read this otherwise, or if I will even make myself read this otherwise. It won't take that long because it's a graphic novel, so that's one thing. And if I'm not enjoying it, I can always DNF it. I need to read The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff, whose family is from India. And so I think that this would be a perfect book for this particular prompt. And it does also have a colorful cover. It has how many different colors? Is that 4 different colors? 5? With the white and the black, 6. Black's not technically a color, neither is white, but you know, whatever. It's got a lot of bright colors on the cover of it. So it actually works for both aspects of this prompt. And it would be perfect. I need to read it for various reasons. And so I feel like this is the way to go. I really feel like this is the way to go. I just kind of was hoping to get my surprise selection in, but if this just goes back to the library, it just goes back to the library, and I'm a little like unsure if I'm interested in this one. Maybe I'll read the first page of this and see if I find any interest. Hold on, I'll be right back. So I've read a few pages and I am kind of finding it interesting. It's definitely more interesting than the last graphic novel I tried to read from this surprise selection. But I also need to read this for a lot of things. I mean, I'm gonna read this either way. Like, I have to read this. But should I just read this for now? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do that because I'm starting a 24-hour readathon tomorrow. And it would be better to do something that I could finish before that. Or at least I wouldn't be as invested in this when I have to put this one down. Okay, that decided it for me. For the spring fashion prompt, a book with a beautiful cover. I actually love this cover. And this is one of the reasons why I was first intrigued by this book. Like, I saw the cover and then I wanted to know more about it. And I just love that like 1950s sort of pinup kind of vibe. This cover really depicts what this whole book is about really well, I think. And so I think I'm gonna go with this as my beautiful cover because I really like this cover a lot. Okay, so that means I can cross off Spring Forward. And I can't cross off Holly Festival of Colors yet, but I've got Allison for that prompt. No, change my mind. I'm gonna go with this instead. This is a better choice for it. And I'm just, I don't know, it just wasn't, I thought it was pulling me in and no. I just realized that I completely forgot to review Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lawrence. So I'm going to do a quick review because I have some quick thoughts and quick feelings about this one. I think I'm going to give it a 3.25 stars. Looking back on it, although I did have an enjoyable time reading it, it's not very memorable. And I feel like that's going to be more and more the case the further I get away from this book. This is a bully romance within an office setting. And I don't have any particular feelings about bully romances. And it didn't really do much for me or against me within this story. I just felt fairly neutral about it. It was fun at times. I enjoyed the characters at times. I did think they were a little insulated in their what was going on in their lives. Like they're very focused on very few things. And that was, I don't know, I guess I like a bit of a broader story with more side characters that have important roles in them, maybe. I don't know. It just felt very much like these two were in their own little world and there wasn't much else touching their thoughts throughout this time. They had plenty of time to dwell on all the things that were going on between the two of them. And it makes sense in an erotica, but it just didn't feel very well rounded for me because of that. The smut was fun, but it wasn't as exciting as I was hoping for, I think. And I think if the smut had built up a little bit more tension or there had been a bit more, I don't know, I like tension a lot when it comes to smutty stories. And so I just didn't think it was that hot. And considering how smutty this book was, because it was an erotica, it was predominantly smut, yeah, it just didn't quite hit the mark. And so an enjoyable read, a fun read, a quick read, but not something that I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, this is a great series, I'm gonna read all of them. I don't know that I might continue on the series because I don't mind smutty romances and books like this when they're in the 3-star range. I think that that's kind of what I expect from a lot of romances. So if they get a higher rating, then I'm really pleasantly surprised. For me, a 3-star range book for smutty romance is perfect and just kind of like a palate cleanser every once in a while. So I may continue on with the series just to see what happens with other characters and in the future. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past me because I just think that these books are fun to pick up when you need a bit of a break from all the other books that you're reading, and that's exactly what it did for me this time around. It is Sunday. I wanted to give you a bit of an update Sunday evening because it was a busy day today, actually. I filmed my TBR video this morning, so that was great. I finally got it done. It's like I have 1 day left of the month, and I'm not going to get this fully edited tonight, so it's not going to go out on the 31st. Maybe it'll go out on the 1st fingers crossed I can get it done by tomorrow, because I just did not end up having as much time this weekend as I had hoped I would. Well, actually, I was busy. I was doing a 24-hour readathon. I hosted sprints on my channel for 4 hours. Then I had a live show for BookStars. So like, it's been a busy weekend. I'm bummed that it's already Sunday evening, because even though I'm looking forward to going to work tomorrow, I just wish I had another day of the weekend. We need 3-day weekends, because I haven't even done like laundry or anything. Yeah, anyways. Okay, slow down, Amy. After I filmed my TBR video and started working on it, our family came over because we did a craft day today, and we started making wreaths. Well, actually, everybody finished making wreaths except me. I'm always the one that takes the longest, and so Mom has kindly left the stuff out on the table so I can come in and work on it a little bit here and there and finish my wreath at some point in the near future. So we were making spring wreaths, and they turned out really, really cute, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So we did that. I made some lunch for all of us. Mom got this tater tot recipe book from my aunt, and the names of these recipes is pretty silly. It's a lot of fun. So today for our crafting, she wanted to make tots poutine. Poutine is a very well-loved Canadian dish. And let's be honest, she wanted me to make tots poutine because who's the cook in this household? So I ended up cooking us some lunch, and it tasted really good, actually. It was a little rich, actually it was a lot rich, and I put a little too much salt in the gravy, so it was a little saltier than I liked. The cousins liked it, but I was like, oof, it's a little too much. It was just very, very rich. And then after that, my cousin and I went to Henderson's Books because I wanted to give them books to sell. And they took some, they gave me back the rest. That was pretty great. Got that done, picked up, well, a book I've already read, but I don't see this book in used bookstores very often, or the series, and it's in really good condition, so I'm excited. I don't think I have this. No, I don't have it. I don't have it. But I want this whole series. I loved this series. I think, is this the one that I wanted to throw across the room? Is this the one that pissed me off the most? I can't remember. One of them pissed me off a ton. I still love the series, and I would like to have the whole thing. And I haven't read it all, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a series where I will like it all the way through. So I got that, and I was able to use credits from the books that I returned to get it, so this didn't cost me anything technically, and I still have some credit for the next time I go back. And then when we got back, we just chatted more with cousins. Like, it was just a great family day. And then I came back to editing my TBR video, and I haven't got back to reading or anything. So I have not made it really much further at all in the Bandit Queen. So I need to be getting to this because I would like to get it done by tomorrow, because tomorrow is the end of the month. I am gonna count this weekend as a self-care weekend because I spent a ton of time reading, and it was fun. I spent time with people through BookTube. I did the 4 hours of sprints, and we had a great time chatting, and I got to talk to people that I don't talk to ever, and some that I haven't talked to in a while. And then for Bookstar read-alongs, I got to spend a lot of time with my friends there. Like, it was a great weekend. And then today was just a relaxing family time. So like, this whole weekend was very soothing for my soul, and I consider that self-care. I could have been doing other things that weren't as enjoyable, and I feel like that helped me a lot after this long week to relax, and that's the whole point of self-care. So I am going to cross off the self-care prompt because I feel like I earned it. So that gives me another bingo. That gives me this bingo right here. So far I have, ooh, that one inadvertently I finished. So let's see, 1, I haven't done that one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 4 corners is 6. So I've done 6 of the 13 different bingos. I just realized that the footage where I crossed off the book Ghost by Jason Reynolds, and that gave me a couple of bingos, I did that in my 24-hour readathon vlog. So I did cross off Ghost, and I did finish it before I actually started my 24-hour readathon, but I included all that footage in that particular video. So I do have a lot more bingos here than you saw the last time that I updated. So I'd still need to do 2. I still need to finish 7, 9, 10, and then 12. Yeah, I'm getting pretty far along. And then tomorrow at the end of the day, no matter what I finish reading, if I don't finish reading The Bandit Queens, it's not going to count for Holly Festival of Colors, which would suck because it was actually perfect for this. But I will go through these other prompts and then see if I have anything that I read this month that will count towards those and see if I can black this out. So that's it for my update for today. I will check in with you tomorrow, probably towards the end of the day, and let you know how everything went and what I actually got accomplished. Okay, so it is end of day, March 31st, and I did not get the Bandit Queens done because we went to the gym this evening with the family, and then I really needed to work on my TBR video because it's already the 31st and it's not done yet. So I've been working on that. I did read a little bit of this when I got home, so that's how much further I have. But realistically, so on page 242, I'm not going to get that done tonight. I will try and read a little bit of this before I go to sleep, but it's not going to be done in time for Spring-Into-Reading-Athon. So what I wanted to do was look at this. What is this thing called? My brain is shutting down for the night. Now I want to look at my bingo board and see if any of these other prompts I can fulfill with other books that I already did read this month. So as far as Holly Festival of Colors, what did I actually read this month that would work for that? You know, Sex and Vanity actually was a very colorful cover. There's some light colors, there's some darker colors. If you turn the back, we've got quite a few different colors on here, including the font. So I would say this is a very colorful book. And this one works for Holly Festival of Lights. So we get a bingo right there, going all the way across. New Beginnings. Read the first book in a series. So for that one, I can definitely put Ghost by Jason Reynolds. That's the first in the series. I could also put LDK, which is the first manga in a series. I could also put Beautiful Bastard, which is the first in a series by Christina Lauren. So that one I did 3 times over. So I did a great job having some new beginnings in this month. Then we've got Over the Rainbow. What is Over the Rainbow? Read a classic or a retelling. Were any of these retellings? Remember that I said that Tea and Sympathetic Magic, because it has all these different Greek mythology names within it, and it reads like a Greek tragedy. No, you won't remember that I said that because I said that in the 24-hour vlog. This is where filming 2 different things at the same time, things get complicated. And there's some ridiculous stuff that happens. There's some magical stuff that happens. I feel like this is a Greek reimagining. And I know it says retelling. I still think this works because for a lot of Greek mythology, it's kind of like reimagining is more what ends up happening as opposed to a strict retelling. So I'm going to say that this worked for that. And it was surprising because I did not expect that at all. I did not expect that element to it. And what's funny about it is I went and looked at reviews and nobody mentions it. And that was strange because I'm like, it's very clear. It's very clear. So I'm just curious if I'm misreading this as to like what it gives. I don't feel like I am though. So I'd be curious to like, you know, hear what the author has to say about this and if that was actually the intention, but I'm still going to use it because I felt like that was a link that I made between this and Greek mythology. And the characters are clearly like Nemesian and Hecate and all these different characters' names. Let's see, Henry, Jupiter, Galatea, Antiope, Hecate, Metis, Juno. So like, no, this was intentional. Europa, I'm totally counting that. I think that's my creative twisting is what I'm gonna do. So that works for Over the Rainbow, because I didn't read a classic this month, so I can't call it for that. Spring Break. Spring Break is to read a YA or new adult book. You know what works for that is the manga, the LDK manga that I read. So that actually is gonna work because it's YA, they're in high school. So Spring Break, I get to cross that one out. Oh, and so this means that this one, I get a bingo right there. And once I New Beginnings, I get a bingo right there, bingo right there. So now I'm gonna put LDK for that one. Boop, boop. So that means that I get a bingo right there. And for our final one, Aries. Aries was fire on the cover, I think. Watch this be the only thing that doesn't actually work with that. Wouldn't that be awful? Huh. Oh, wait, no, Shortfall might have fire on the cover. Hold on one second. Yes, of course it does. And it makes sense because there were fires that were happening. So there's fire on the cover and like all the embers and stuff like that because there were definitely fires and explosions and all kinds of wild stuff happening in this particular book. So Shortfall has fire on the cover. And that means that I got a full blackout. And I finished the whole thing this month. I read, how many books did I finish? Some of these books I had started. I think not really. Actually, I think, no, I've read most of these within the month. Sex and Vanity, My Sister the Serial Killer, LDK, the manga, American Pop, On a Quiet Street, Beautiful Bastard, Ghost, The Bandit Queens, Shorefall, Tea and Sympathetic Magic, and Patina. That's 11. I read 11 books, and I almost finished a 12th. I completed the Blackbird Oracle in this month. I didn't finish the Bandit Queens yet, so that would have been a 12th book. Plus, you know, I read most of the Blackbird Oracle before this month. I still worked on it this month. That's pretty darn good. I feel like I'm out of my slump, and I did a pretty good job reading this month. Granted, some of those are short, but you know, it's still reading, and I'm still getting through books and having a fun time reading this month. So I consider Spring-Into-Reading-Athon a major success. It was a major success. I had a great time this month. I had a lot of fun co-hosting, and I'm excited to see what the next couple of months bring because I'm still really in this reading mode. So I've got tons of books still on my physical want to read right now. I have a lot of books that I need to read, and I have vlogs I need to edit, and I have other videos I need to edit. I have so much I need to do, but I'm excited to do it. And so having that excitement, that motivation is really helpful at the moment because it'll help push me through to get some of these things accomplished. So let me know in the comment section down below how your month of reading went. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the books that I read, or let me know about some of the books that you read. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens in the month of April. It's already April. That's pretty wild. I'm not quite ready for it, but I'm excited about what books I have to read in the month of April because I have a lot of really good things that are coming. A lot of really good things coming. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.